Hey everyone, and welcome back to FSI DFS. I am McKinley412, and today we're going to be breaking down the 11-game slate on Draftkings for Saturday afternoon. A large slate here, but no true weather concerns at the moment. There are a couple games that have like a 10 to 20% chance of rain, nothing more than that. But things can change overnight and into the day, so make sure you're keeping up to the minute on that, as well as any COVID-related news that might be happening. So with a large slate, let's just kind of dive right in here. We have Corbin Burns right up at the top, 10.5K. Burns, he prior to his last start, his strikeout percentage did go down quite a bit, but he's still at a 42% strikeout rate on the season. He's clearly the top option on the slate here. He's going up against the Pittsburgh offense that is the third worst offense in terms of WRC plus against right-handed pitching. So Burns, compared to everybody else on this slate, top option for sure. Price tag, a little scary. It's always nerve-wracking when you're in that 5-digit range, but I think he's more than worthy of his price tag. Right below him, Dylan Cease facing the Detroit Tigers. I almost said Detroit Red Wings there. The Tigers. He's faced the Tigers twice so far this season, and he's put up a 36-point performance and a 41-point performance. Good for an average of 38.6 here. So he has been absolutely dominant against Detroit. We know what his ceiling can be. He's got that double-digit strikeout upside. You do see that he does have some games here where he does struggle. But going up against this Detroit team, clearly another top option on this slate. There's probably going to be a lot of cash builds that just jam in Burns and jam in Cease, and don't even think too much else about it. Just because the rest of the pitchers, while they're not bad pitchers on this slate, there's just a lot of average pitchers on this slate. Guys that I don't think are worth their price tag, or just I'd rather pay the extra money for Cease and Burns and be done with that. Musgrove, I like him more for a GPP. I'm not sure I really trust him for cash play at the moment. His floor is limited, especially given that 9.3 price tag. But his ceiling is as high as anybody's on this slate. He clearly has that double-digit strikeout upside. He's 34% carried on the season, which isn't anywhere near a guy like Corbin Burns, but still, it's north of that 30% threshold that we really strive for. So 34% strikeout rate. He's got a favorable matchup going up against the Mets here, but still, limited floor. But his ceiling is super high, so GPP only for me on that one. Then, as I mentioned earlier, the rest of the pitchers, there's nothing too great that really sticks out. And just because it is such a large slate, I'm not going to go over everybody here. One guy that I do want to highlight down here, though, is Kikuchi. He's going up against Cleveland, who does strike out quite a bit, and you can kind of see his strikeouts have kind of been coming in strong the past couple of starts. He had the 5-3 here against Texas and Oakland. Well, a little bit better than that. But other than that, 8, 11, 7, 7. He's been striking guys out. Now he's going up against a Cleveland team that is striking out the 5th most in the league against left-handed pitching. So a definite boost for Kikuchi there. And kind of unlike Musgrove, Kikuchi has provided a very solid floor this season. 32, 20, you can kind of see he's just had great starts. 2 blips here, but that's against Boston and Houston. Cleveland, nowhere near that kind of offense. His salary at 7.8 is a little higher than I would like it to be. But if you need that salary savings and you need to go down into this range, Kikuchi, I think, is a nice play in this range. Velasquez, he has the strikeout percentage, but he also gets hit very hard. He has a very high hard hit rate. Marquez is the other guy I kind of want to look at here. He's going against Cincinnati, and Cincinnati's at home, and their offense at home is just unreal. It's just incredible. We're seeing it again tonight here. I think they're up to like 5 or 6 home runs, and we're just halfway through the game. It's just amazing what this offense can do. But Marquez, he plays in Coors Field, and he's able to do fairly well in Coors Field. And he is in great, great form. Just look at these numbers here. 1 or fewer earned run in 4 straight starts, 4 or fewer hits, solid K rate. He's at a 24% K rate on the season, but that's higher in his past 5 starts. So again, GPP play at best. Cincinnati bats should definitely scare you, especially in that small ballpark. But if you need that savings, GPP, want to throw a dart in there, go for it. But really, for cash, you're probably just going to be sticking with these top 2 guys here, because I don't think salary is too much of an issue on this slate. So let's kind of turn towards the bats here. Highest over-under on the slate at the moment is the Toronto versus Boston game. This is the highest over-under, and it's an even money line. So both teams probably going to have an implied total right around 5. Obviously, things can change overnight, but Matz, Pivetta, not the best of pitchers, but the salaries of these 2 teams are pretty high. It's going to be tough to build great quality lineups with these kinds of bats, and also jamming in Corbin Burns and Dylan Cease. So I'm not as high on these guys here. I do think there are some other better bats that you could be targeting that are better point per dollar plays. I'll put it like that. So that's your highest over-under. Second highest over-under on the slate is the New York versus Philadelphia match here at 9.5 total. And that's mainly for New York. And I do like the New York bats here just because they are going up against a pitcher in Velasquez who has a very high hard hit rate. His hard hit rate is 46.8%. You guys, if you've been watching these videos, you know that hard hit, for something to classify as a hard hit, it needs to have an exit velocity of at least 95 miles per hour, which is way up there. So 46.8% for Velasquez. So I wish New York had a bit more lefties in the lineup, but you can kind of see their salary is very, very generous, definitely compared to the Boston and Toronto salaries. Judge is up there, but you're looking at the rest of these guys just in the low to mid 4K range, and you can even throw in a cheapy play down here as well. So I like New York Yankees here. Cincinnati, obviously at home, you always want to be paying attention to them. I know I highlighted Marquez, but again, Cincinnati at home should always be on your radar. But the 2 teams that I do want to talk about, the main 2 teams, and I don't think either of them are going to be greatly owned at all. First team is Baltimore, and I can't believe I'm doing this, but I looked at all the numbers and I was blown away by the numbers. Baltimore is going up against Rich Hill, the lefty Rich Hill. If we go back 1 month, so today's June 11th, if we go back to May 11th, I'm on Fangraphs here. I did some splits. We got batting, sorted by team, left-handed pitching in the past month, so since May 11th. Now, May 11th is when Baltimore started that insane losing streak. They lost 4 games, they won 1, and then they lost 14 straight. So they lost 18 of 19 starting on May 11th. And so this is where the start of it is. But against left-handed pitching, check out these stats. Team batting average, top of the league, 333 team batting average. Let me get rid of these stats here. 333 team batting average against left-handed pitching. Now, we're only talking 243 plate appearances, so not the greatest amount of data, but still, that's quite a bit of data to be going on here. They're mashing left-handed pitching. On base percentage, number 1. Slugging percentage, number 1. On base plus slugging, number 1. By a healthy 69 points. That's just incredible. ISO, number 2. And it just keeps going on. Their WRC plus is 166. It's just incredible. How does a team that lost 18 of 19 games in this past month have these kinds of numbers. Their splits against left-handed pitching. It's because their splits against right-handed pitching is awful, and their pitching has severely let them down. But still, Baltimore going up against Rich Hill, and look at these prices on these guys. Mancini 4.7, okay, but everybody else is so cheap, and they're just stacked with right-handed or switch hitters. So you can throw in Mancini. Mullins is your one lefty, but Galvis, Mountcastle, Santander, Hayes, these are all right-handed bats that do very well against left-handed pitching. And like I said, their pricing is very cheap. You can throw in the top 2 pitchers here, and you got 4.2K remaining for your remaining bats here. It's just incredible. Baltimore catchers, super cheap, regardless of who is starting. If it's Severino, if it's Wins, super cheap, near min price or at min price here. So Baltimore, I think they're going to do great. We were on them at FSI here. We were on them when they scored 18 runs against Cleveland the other day. So we're back to the Baltimore well here, and we think they're going to do very well once again. And again, I don't think they're going to be very high owned going up against Rich Hill, who admittedly has really limited some damage, but you can kind of see through the game logs here. He's in great form. 2 or fewer earned runs in, how many is this? 8, maybe 9 consecutive starts. But he can get tossed around, as you see in these 2 starts here. It is possible. He can get tossed around. So loving Baltimore. Other team that I'm going to be highlighting here for you guys is going to be Seattle, going up against Cleveland and Tristan McKenzie. Now, I mentioned earlier that Velasquez for Philadelphia has a very high hard hit rate. McKenzie is even higher. McKenzie's hard hit rate is at 52.8%. That is the second highest in the entire major league among pitchers who have the number of batters faced as McKenzie or more. So 52.8%, he gets hit very hard. He has already faced Seattle this season, and Seattle was able to hit him pretty well here. Let me pull up the stats of that game. 4.1 innings pitched, 5 hits against, 5 earned runs, 2 home runs, some walks, and some Ks. And that's kind of your typical McKenzie game. He's going to have a nice strikeout percentage. He's got a 32% strikeout rate on the season, but he's going to walk a lot of guys, and he's going to let up a lot of hits. So while his strikeout rate is nice, he lets up a lot of base hits and walks. That's kind of why you see a guy with a 32% strikeout rate have an ERA over 6 and a WHIP of over 1.5. So I do like the Seattle bats here as well. And once again, they're not pricey at all. Seager, 3.8K, should be way higher than that. Haniger, 5.4, obviously he's there. But look at this. Super cheap. There shouldn't be any issue with finding value on this slate. So Baltimore, Seattle, I'm going to be all in on tomorrow, especially Baltimore. Yankees are in a great spot. Cincinnati, obviously at home, needs to be looked at. And then Toronto, Boston, that's your highest over-under for the moment, and an over-under of 10 in the even game. So that kind of covers things. Burns and Cease, 1-2 in cash. Everybody else, GPP, or if you need some salary savings, I don't know. I think there's enough batting value that you shouldn't have to stray too far from these top 2 guys. So hit that thumbs up button, please. Subscribe, hit that notification bell, drop a comment down below. We really do appreciate all of the engagement that you guys have been giving us. And when you do that, it really helps us provide this free content for you and keep it free. So we try to hit up every single main slate. We'll have videos every single day. If there's an early slate that's at least 4 games, we'll do a video for that one as well. So we actually do have another video coming out for the later slate, the 4-game slate later on today. So make sure to check that out as well. But good luck in your contest today, and we'll see you in the next video.